Hi, wanted to do one more video in my studio before I lose it because I'm getting kicked out of our apartment here, my girlfriend and I, in 3 days. Funny story. So, video 10, this is. I am well into phase 3 of REGENIX. It's the thickening phase. It's where you'll all want to be once you start doing this, if you're not already doing it. You will notice, you've seen me compare before the different phases, vials, and the liquids that are in it. This treatment is actually quite a bit more yellowy looking, and you can tell right away when you first drip it in. It's quite a bit different. I found out later, speaking with Greg of REGENIX, it's got a lot of, I think he said, vitamin A and vitamin E in it, and it stinks. Really, really stinks. Kind of like how tea tree oil stinks. The first night, it was keeping me up. It was so drastic and kind of offensive. And you know, there's this casting director here in New Mexico who is really particular about perfumes and stuff. And God, I mean, can you imagine if some bitch that you have to like go and impress starts giving, you know, saying like, oh God, what cologne are you wearing? You know, like, oh yeah, thanks. It's this thing that's keeping me from potentially killing myself. So thank you for picking it out and belittling me. But no, it is quite offensive. So I mentioned that to him. I spoke to him over the phone. He said we can turn that down a little bit. I mean, of course, if it's good for me, maybe it's better I keep doing it. And the reason why he ended up speaking to me on the phone is because he saw these videos on YouTube. I noticed that that REGENIX was uploading some new videos, one of which had a new video of Matt McConaughey's appearance on the Kelly Ripa show.
Now, you have the greatest hair. Is that a natural? Is it?
Thank you, man. I do.
You got good hair. Yeah. Oh yeah, looks good.
Yeah, that's what I got. I was losing my hair in '99.
No.
What do you mean?
Yes, I was.
And
yes,
then
I
what
was.
happened?
I started rubbing my head with this stuff called Regenexx, and damn if I didn't bring it back.
Is that true?
That's true.
No kidding.
I had a silver dollar right here.
No.
And I got a funny story because.
Yes. Oh my God, he's got the miracle solution.
Gelman just wrote that down.
I talked to this guy. So what's the title of the doctor who works on hair? Who does transplants and stuff? I don't know, whatever that title would be.
Yeah.
I run into this guy in Beverly Hills, and he goes, I have been wanting to meet you because I go to this conference every year. And over the last 10 years, we always put you on the screen as a great hair transplant example, right? And he goes, for 6 years, nobody ever raised their hand to say it was them. And the last 3 years, there's this doctor from Sweden who takes credit for it. And he goes, and I was like, oh, he's full of BS. He goes, can I look at your scalp? And he looks at it, he goes, you don't have hair transplants? Yeah. I'm going to bust this man next year at the convention. Yeah,
good. Gosh, I hate that.
Unbelievable.
I bet he got some good work. I bet he got some jobs off
Seriously.
of it. No, so this is my hair. Yeah.
That's all you...
So I think what really the difference is he must have noticed earlier than I did, because I didn't notice. I'm going to show you a slideshow of the progression of my hair loss over the last couple of years. And now that I've gone through and I've really come to terms with it, despite the fact that it still is amazingly depressing for me, I've actually started taking some antidepressants. I meant to bring those down so I could show you. So yeah, I started taking them 3 days ago. But actually, whenever I'm buzzed the side of my head really tightly, it just brings me out of my shell. I feel even though I don't feel like I look like myself, I do feel like myself somehow. I don't know why. It's really difficult. I always have to keep maintaining this area in order to keep the balance of the thickness. This is now basically past the point of no return. Some of you have commented that I look like I still have a really nice hairline. Thank you. It's just not the case, and especially anymore. Some of those videos are a little older, and I've lost so much in the last year. I'll give you a good look here. And then you can see through it here. This was always a problem, but now this is actually the best area. Hooray. And then, so where it really affects me is there's a line here, just like that, like a little rainbow. I have a rainbow, and then it goes, I have good coverage here on the left side. This is my left side. And then, so it goes like this. There's my rainbow. And then it goes all the way back to here. The right side doesn't have as good a coverage. And so I have to spend a lot more time buzzing this area to keep it in line with how thin it is up here. And you can definitely see through it in the light, but it's so tightly buzzed, it just looks like I'm just buzzing the whole thing really, really tightly. And thankfully, mercifully, this kind of hairstyle is contemporary, even though I'm not by any means a hipster and care two shits about staying up with the trends. But at least I fit in. I feel like that when it's like this. So there's the smell. And then he told me, Greg, because he saw the videos, that I've been buzzing my hair. And so he said, because I've been having a hard time, and this was one thing that I had one time written him about, I'd had a hard time keeping it on my head, the treatment, because it's so thin, there's nothing to catch it, and it just drips down like crazy. So I've actually started tying a towel around my head when I put it in. That helps. You still want to keep it in here. You don't want to seep into the towel because that would be wasting the treatment. But at least it doesn't get all over your shirt. So I'm so careful with it. And they say it takes like 3 to 5 minutes. God, I don't know what version of Trump reality they're talking about, but in no human world, in no normal person's world, in no like infomercial for Regenexx world, it takes like 15 minutes to do this every day. And so, okay, so he told me because of my hair length, he actually does this himself. He doesn't do the off day, the day when you're not doing the treatments, which includes steps 1, 2, and 3, where you remove it with basically the astringent that takes all the treatment out, and then there's the scalp sealant, which is the thing I really don't like. That's the thing I've talked about that kind of has a consistency of like hairspray, and it just drips into your pores and gives you zits. It gives me zits big time. So I don't have breakouts anymore. So he told me to stop doing that, and instead of using a treatment vial every other day, he wants me to use 1/2 of the treatment vial every day. So that's what I do. Tie my basically a bandana with a towel like that, and then I do 1/6, 1/6, and 1/6 every day, and it takes at least 10 minutes, maybe not 15, but at least 10 minutes. So it's a lot of work. This is a lot of work. Yeah. And the first thing, and really the only thing people really care about when they're watching my videos, they want to know one thing. I know you guys want to know one thing. You want to know if it works. Well, if it works, if the answer was that simple, then my videos wouldn't be 30 minutes long, and I wouldn't have 10 of them. And maybe the photos I'm going to show you are going to give you an idea of that. Okay, so maybe you want to know Has there been progress? Because I'm well into my third phase here. And because halfway through, I think after 6 weeks of using a phase 3, I started doing the treatment. Well, I guess that didn't change the time frame because I'm doing it half every day. So yeah, that's the same. So I am halfway through my first 3 months of phase 3. So I am in the thickening phase. So you want to know if it has made any difference. Well, has it made any difference? Well, okay. I will say that I don't have almost any fallout in the shower. It could be because I have almost no hair. I'm buzzing it off. But you may remember I mentioned that whenever I'm buzzing my hair, the hair is now so thin that if I'm not careful, I pick that hair up with my feet, and it gets stuck in between like the pores of my feet, and it's like having an ingrown hair on on the pad of your foot, and it's really painful. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened, and that was happening like twice a week. Added insult to injury to what was already really painful. Actually, injury to insult, I guess. So, are they correlated? I have to say yes, honestly. Don't know, but I mean, because of the consistency of how many times that was happening, and now it just isn't happening. So it took 6 months to get to where I am, but you'll see over the course of that 6 months how much I've lost. And right now, originally I was, it was recommended that I get a hair transplant of 1,500 grafts to fix just the front. Back then I thought that was too few. But now I wonder if 1,500 grafts will cover any of it, because I feel like, as I said, I'm past the point of no return with this. I don't know if I will ever be satisfied with my hairline anymore. I really feel like hair loss is now, I would describe it as a losing game. You can't win. You can only slow the inevitable. And that's what I feel like is happening. Even though this is now thicker hair, I mean, it's going to fall out eventually. Just because, hair falls out. Even people who aren't going bald lose their hair, little bit by little bit. And now I have so little coverage that with every hair that falls out, I notice it a little more. But thankfully, it's just not happening that much anymore. But I had to lose something like, I would say, God, I don't even know anymore. Maybe close to 90% in this area, 80% in this area, 40% in this area, and 60% all the way back here. Yeah, that probably is right. So, my big recommendation to you, if you can't afford the Regenexx, is just start shaving your head, or buzzing it. I do feel better. And it's not because of the antidepressants, because I've been doing this before that. I'm doing the antidepressants anyway, I'm in therapy anyway. But because I just don't want to be thinking about it anymore. I don't want this controlling my life anymore. And that, if anything, that's the reason why I want to have the surgery. It's just because I just don't want to think about this. I am honestly just getting fed up with the whole Regenexx process. I really don't want to spend time doing this anymore. It's just one of the things that I loved about my hair was that it was so easy and so manageable. Like, get out of the shower, I never conditioned it, blow dried it for 20 seconds, it would be up the way I like it. I'll show a photo. So I'm going to start with these photos of me. This one was in 2011. There you are. Oh, son of a bitch. And I've been blow drying my hair the way that I've been mentioning for quite a while, like 8 years. And I was wondering if actually that had something to do with the fact that I was losing my hair as quickly as I was. And now I realize that's actually not the case, because it's not just the front of my bangs that I'm losing anymore at the vertex. It's everywhere. It's the temples, it's the crown, and this guy, vertex too. So, but I was blaming myself. I did think it had something to do with the way that I managed my hair in the morning over the course of the last 10 years. But it's just not. It's just because it was my time. It was my time to start losing my fucking hair. Yeah. So this is a picture of me in 2011. It was I was taking, headshots to be an actor. I didn't choose this one, but I just think it's a really good photo of, shows what my hair used to look like. And I think the makeup lady put some product into my hair at that point. But you can see at the vertex there is no receding hairline whatsoever. I was 28 then. Okay, and here's me. This is 2014, so this is 3 years later. In 2014 in July 14th. There is a little bit, now that I'm looking at it, on the right temple of receding hair there. But if you would have told me I was losing my hair at that point, I would have laughed at you. Because I would have never believed it. And certainly no one had noticed. I didn't notice. This was one I was considering using as a headshot. Okay, this one as well. I really liked this one. I certainly missed that guy. I thought he was pretty handsome. I can't believe that me and him are the same person. Looking at myself today, honestly. I can't believe it. So this was actually after that. This was about 2 weeks after, and I tried to make myself look like a nerd for some headshots. My girlfriend took these. We didn't end up using any of them. She's not a professional photographer. But again, you can see how thick the hair was just 2.5 years ago. Okay, and now this, you can start to see a little bit in the vertex, which I also, again, didn't realize. This was a year after that. It was June 12th of 2015, right in the vertex. I'll zoom in here. There is definitely some loss. I didn't realize it. And man, did I love to do that. I love the feeling of doing that, and I love what happened when you pushed my hair forward. I just loved the way it framed my face. I loved that. Can't do that anymore. We'll never get to do that again. I loved the way my hair felt. I just loved it. I really did. Okay, so then this is when I found out. This was when I really found out. I was in Big Bear. I'll turn the camera off here. I was in Big Bear over New Year's. 2016. Yeah, okay, this was taken 2016, January 4th. So I had noticed a few days before this. And we have a very strong light in that bathroom. So you can see, well, from the front all the way back, how much I was starting to lose. It was like a big V. And my girlfriend took this photo for me. January 4th, 2016. And then this was not much later. I managed to convince myself around February, this is February 23rd, last year, that it was all in my head. I didn't know what I was thinking. I was fine. You really can't tell. And it was just going to come back because my girlfriend convinced me that hair falls out in cycles and regrows in cycles. So I thought, okay, maybe it was just I ate something bad. I don't know. I was sick. Then here's March 4th. Some Airbnb guests that were staying with us in Albuquerque. We went to Marble Brewery. And you can see a little bit. But, I mean, it still was holding together pretty firm here. And then this is April 7th, last year, 2016. I met a World War II veteran, which I was very impressed with. He was a tail gunner on a Liberator, B-24. And here, again, this was probably the last time that I would say that I really looked like myself. That's how I always looked. That's how I've looked since college, you know. I always liked the clean-cut look. I like these big old lady glasses. I was very confident up until this time last year. Even though I was pretty sure I was losing my hair, I didn't think I was going to lose it nearly as quickly as I am. I was still pretty confident. I felt like I had some time to figure it out, and it was even potentially fixable. Now I don't feel like it's even fixable. That's my bearded dragon. This was May 3rd, 2016. Again, you zoom in here on my hairline, and it's really still very thick. This was actually very shortly after that, May 10th. You zoom in, and you can see under a really harsh light that there is a lot of thinning at the vertex. It's not so bad in the temples, but what is weird and what I've never had before is like just a really flat area on top, like where the crown is. Like basically, it just used to be really full, and now it's just flat. Or at that point, it was very flat. This was at a Bernie Sanders rally in Albuquerque. You can tell it's also quite flat here, but I mean, you still can't really see it. You zoom in. This is May 20th. There's a little thinning around the vertex, but really just nothing noticeable. Here's May 27th. A little thinning at the vertex. Okay, so this was May 31st. I was working on a short film in Colorado, and I was very, very, very concerned at this point that I was losing quite a bit, because under harsh lights, I could really just see through it. It was still holding the same shape, the whole overall shape, the round shape. It was still preserved at that point, but yeah, at the front, you could just see through it. And this is where I really noticed it for the first time. This is June 3rd. I actually had posted this photo before at the top of the Sandia Mountain. You zoom in, and it's just like, ugh, God. And it still looks flat, too, but just the whole vertex to the temple, ugh, I was so miserable. I nearly jumped off of one of those terraces. I looked at the picture right there. I couldn't believe it. So a couple days after that, June 5th, her parents were in town, so we went and did some touristing. Yeah, but But yeah, I was so unhappy about that. And even still looking back at this, I think, man, that was good coverage. And this was July 10th. I'd never had this before where you could see through it after a shower. This was a completely new experience for me. I didn't even know that people's thinning hair starts to look like this. Mine was always just, if you get it wet in the shower, it just looks like Lego hair, like it's all one piece. This was new for me. This sort of thing. And then again, this is July 11th. You can see I mentioned to you at one point my triangles. I'll do a live video of my triangles in a second. Okay, you can really make them out here. Oh, there's the triangles. Okay, so the right side is definitely worse. It's going to look the opposite. It's mirrored. Yeah. Okay, this in July, yeah, I was saying that the worst part was at the vertex, but it's just not anymore. Now that's the best part. And I have the most problem, and I'll show you. Okay, so that was the worst part then. My triangles. Oh. Wait, so this was when it was wet. Didn't I have a photo of it? Yeah, okay. I'll show you the comparison photos in a second. This is July 14th. July 26th. Maybe I'll go here. Okay, hold on. So you can compare. Okay, so, alright, so here we go. So this is the other day. I took this on the 27th of February this year. Very thin at the vertex, extremely thin at the temples. And then again, the crown is just almost entirely exposed. Especially the right side of the right vertex. Okay, so here are my triangles, as I mentioned before, or what were my triangles. They don't really show up as triangles any longer. Oh, it's weird. I'm glad.
That's what they look like now. So for the sake of comparison, let's compare the triangles. Alright. Yeah. I had bigger triangles in July. So 6 months later, that's me 6 months ago. This is me in the thickening phase. Close to 3 months, two and a half months into my thickening phase. So, yeah. The triangles, right? So this where it used to be the worst. Let's compare that photo to. Here we go. Yep, even there, yeah, I've definitely lost quite a bit comparatively. Because in July here, I was still able to sort of get by without having people notice. Just if I stayed out of certain halogen lights, I would be fine. But now, now I'm bald. Okay. So where were we here? This is July 26th,
July, also 26th. Really thin, but still that same shape. Here's August. You can tell how I've already lost the shape of the overall shape of my head in just 1 month. So I started losing. This was, I guess, from July to August is where I really started to lose thickness at the crown. And I had started, mind you, doing Regenexx in the end of May. So then these were the photos that I sent into my hair surgeon to see what he thought and what he recommended. This is August. From here, it still looks like I still have that same shape, at least. Very thin, but at least the shape is there. Round shape is still preserved from the back, but now that shape is gone.
So it works. The thing is, you have to go through those first 2 phases. And when you're going through those first 2 phases, you're going to lose so much. By the end of it, you're not even really going to care about what it saves. That's where I'm at. I mean, this is not nearly enough. I won't feel like it's enough until I get back to this photo. And I don't know if I ever will. I don't think I ever will. 1,500 grafts is going to be, what is that, like a $12,000 surgery? You know, I got, the moment I have just over $1,000 in my bank account. So, and I haven't even paid my SAG dues. I won't pay them this year. You know, I'm not really going on auditions anymore. I'm so uncomfortable doing it. Makes me depressed. So I'm kind of giving up on acting actually. Oh well. Just my dreams, you know? Just giving up on my dreams. Everything that was ever important to me. No big deal. Yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to say. I think it works. I think it works. It's just like by the time it starts thickening, and you have to use this every day, every single day. And if you don't, you start losing it again. So that's what I mean. It's a losing game. You go camping for a week, you're gonna lose hair. So you've got to be tied to this. Is that something you're willing to do? I don't know if I am. I really don't. I'm getting ready to start shaving it. I mean, if it gets any thinner than that, I would really say that's about it. Yeah. That'd be about as much as I can take. Okay. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'll keep making more videos when I can. And if you don't mind, so far I don't think anyone's put even a penny into my GoFundMe campaign for my hair transplant. I'll post the link, but don't worry about it. I know you're going through hard times too.